Hey, hey. Um, let's solder one of my newest QuinLED boards. And if this is successful and it works correctly, I will finally be able to put it on my website again and give you the dirty PCB link, which has been down for the last month because of the move and some issues I had. So yeah, let me gather some components and let's get started. This is the new QuinLED 2.6 version. Sadly, I immediately have a problem with it. Let me turn that around. So, if you check these two boards closely, you'll notice that one is actually correct and the other is actually missing some traces. And I'm not sure where this went wrong, but, well, it's wrong. So I'm going to try and correct that. Or I'm going to... Only one isn't going to work, so I'm going to try and make one that does work. And if it indeed works, I will edit the PCB files and, well, correct the error that's in there. I've already found it. And once that's done, we should have fully functioning boards again. What do you think? Red for input, and then two blue ones for output? Some resistors, because we all know how well those worked last time. Hopefully it's fixed in this version. This is mostly also a lighting test, so I have no clue how it looks. I'm going for sharp and vibrant, I guess. But I'll make adjustments once I have this done. If you're wondering about these little boxes, I call it my Ikea Tinker storage system. I basically have a lot of drawers with a lot of these boxes which have all kinds of small components in them. So let's see here. If you didn't know, these actually slot together like this, and then they're basically attached to each other. Okay, we need some pin headers. Okay, and some MOSFETs, DC converter I have here. Okay, that should be it, except for the MOSFETs. Let me get those. Okay, and I need some little snips. There we go. So we have to move some more stuff out of the way. Because I'm going to try and use my new Ikea soldering board. Okay, that should be sharp. Let's get started. I did a soldering tutorial earlier, so I'm just going to solder the board basically. This is not as much going to be a tutorial. It's been a while since I've soldered one myself. After a while, you basically have enough. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's hope that's in frame correctly. As I said, I'm working with a new setup. I'm trying to figure things out. Oh, damn it. Okay. Okay. Looks okay. Let's do that one real quickly. And there we go. Next up, let's do the voltage converter. It's important to match the alignment of the arrows. So always requires some fidgeting, but once you've done it and it's in, check that it's correctly. And this little knob over here, not sure you can see that. There we go. This little knob over here should be closest to the socket. This is also where you set the voltage points. So, what's the easiest way to do this? I don't know, man. See, I have troubles with this also. Let's first solder the top. There we go. And then let's solder the other side. Because the holes are so thin. It should stick in there pretty well. If these pins stick together, that's no problem because on the board they're connected anyway. Okay. We'll snip off the excess later on. Which MOSFETs are these? So I wanted to try something with my MOSFETs. Okay, let's put on the outer connectors first. And the reason I'm doing these last is because these are the highest points on the board, basically, except for the MOSFETs, of course. So that just makes everything easier. I advise to use a lot of solder here and heat it up plenty. Okay. So when soldering, take care to heat the pad and the pin. It's not just that you're putting solder on it, but everything needs to be heated to bond, basically. There we go. Nice and thick. All the power is going to go through there, so a good connection is preferred. There we go. So I have these MOSFETs right now, but I'm going to use one of these and one of my other ones. And the reason for that is I found that sometimes the boards will make buzzing noises, and the only place I've been able to locate are the MOSFETs. So when using two different types, I can test which one, well, is basically noisier. As you can see, I've reverted back to an earlier design where the MOSFETs are horizontally placed next to each other. I still like it better than I did with the 2.5 design, I guess. But I've spaced them further apart than I did in the 2.2 design. So that should look better and work better because they'll be able to handle a lot more power than they did in earlier boards. And in the earlier boards, I sometimes had the problem that they would touch, but that should be a problem of the past, basically. Sorry if I'm in front of the camera sometimes. Okay. So let's check before I start snipping. Yeah, that's hot. Okay, that looks pretty good. I've already noticed with this top-down angle, you're getting a very top-down view, which is of course logical. But maybe not ideal. So, yeah. Oh, wait. Let me solder the resistors. These are tiny little motherfuckers. Let me get a, how do you call that, pin set? Tweezers? I don't know. Okay, at least I can grab them with this. So first, you should tin a pad. There we go, just a little dab. Then you take one of the, how am I going to do this? Okay, I should have tinned the other pad, but okay. Then you're going to take one of the resistors. And basically you're going to melt it into the pad you just tinned. There we go. And once it's on that side of the pad, we can apply some tin here. And there we have it. A tiny ass resistor. So let me do the other one. In case you're wondering, there isn't really a positive or a negative for a resistor. So you can mount it any way, preferably text up though. Okay. There we go. 2 resistors. Okay. So that means all the soldering work is done. Looks decent enough. I'm not great at this, but you know, we make do. Okay. So then we can start snipping the excess legs, I guess. I always hold them so that they don't jump everywhere. Don't be alarmed by cutting some tin with it sometimes. You can always apply extra if you need to, but it looks fine. Okay. Using one of these angled snips is absolutely life-saving. If you haven't read my hardware guides, you can pick them up from there. I believe they're only $1 or $1.50 or something like that. So, okay. I mostly leave the larger ones as they are. Board sits, oh, okay, well, reasonably well. What's sticking out? Oh well, okay. And there we have it, a fully soldered QuinLED 2.6. So, first thing to always remember, set the voltage converter. So I'm going to get my multimeter, and well, I guess we can still do that together. Okay, I have a tiny screwdriver. Let's see if this one's going to work. No, I really hate those little screws. Hold on. I actually forgot to get 2 jumpers. Mini screwdrivers. That's the one I'm looking for. I have these because I did some workshops at an event called Camp Zone. If you don't know what Camp Zone is, I guess look at the description or here, I don't know. But I needed some screwdrivers for that, and I ordered these from AliExpress, and what do you know? Perfect. Okay, so let me connect that up. Always look at the plus and minus. They're on several points at the board on the board. So, oh, and a little trick: if the stupid wire doesn't want to fit, I mostly do a bit of this. And then they go right in. Don't be alarmed when the terminal twists a little bit. That always happen even if the soldering points are done correctly. So they're just able to twist a little bit because you solder the metal, not the plastic. Okay. Yep. That should be fine. Let me hook this up to a power supply. As I said, I'm still setting up in the new place. So better to make something easier so you can use it in the future than doing everything one time and having to do them multiple times. There we go. Now we have a plug on this, and I'll get another cable and I'll make this plug on that cable, and then I can just connect and disconnect. Again, these are in my hardware guides, so you can easily find them. There we go. So now this plug should have power. I guess we could test that. Okay, well, I use this power supply for my lighting, and I can't use PBM dimming while filming. So this is a 24 volt power supply of which I regulate the voltage. But whatever, the onboard DC to DC converter will fix that. So this should work. There we go. The board should now have power. Let's check that on the input terminals. Yeah, power, good. Now let's see how we're going to do this, because this is always a bit of a hard thing to do. You're basically missing a few hands. I guess it's the human limitation. There we go. So we're at 8.7 right now, and we want to be on 3.3. Oh. Other way. There we go. 3.3 volts. Okay. Okay, so if we stick in an ESP, let's see, I have one over here. Without the jumpers on the board, it should boot if I did everything correctly in the design. Of course, I have no way of verifying that right now. Let me disconnect power. Reconnect it. So I see the little blinks, so that mostly means it is booting. But yeah. So normally at this stage you would take these two jumpers and you would put them on the jumper positions, and then it would boot in flash mode. Then you'd flash the module, remove the jumpers, and then you can program it. But I've been using a different method, using basically these USB to serial modules. I talked about them in the last video, so I suggest watching that. It makes the whole process a lot more convenient. Okay, so now that we have a board, and I also have an ESP which is already programmed, let me connect two LED strips, and we'll see if this new design actually works or not. So let's first disconnect the power. And here's my two strips. Again, always watch the minus and plus signs on the board. Okay. So when connecting strips, be mindful, especially if you're going to use the two channels, that the strips are the same voltage as you're putting in, because although there's a DC-DC converter on the board, it only converts power for the microcontroller. So if you're putting in 12 volts or 24 volts, you will need a 12 volt or 24 volt LED strip. If you don't, it'll basically be very bright for a few seconds or very dim. But in the bright variety, there's probably going to be a bit of smoke and dying of LED strips and stuff like that. So I believe I have two strips of 24 volts. Let's connect them without the ESP on there. Okay. Well, this is normal. I don't think you can see that actually. They light up, which is to be expected. And so let's put the ESP in. I've already programmed it, just like in the previous ESP8266 LED lighting videos. So let's see if it actually boots and resets system. And there we go. They immediately go into a very low power mode. And because I just programmed this ESP, I know the IP address. So let's send channel 1 a value of 500. Okay, that works. And let's do the same with channel 2. Okay, that works too. So now let's now set them to 1023, the highest value per channel. Sorry if that's a bit bright. So that works. Let's give them 9 seconds to go to 0, basically. Let's do that with the other channel too. They should be able to dim at the same time. Yep, one channel's off now. And there we go. Cool. Okay, seems like this new design is working just fine. Off is also off, that's good. And it also means this is the first design that actually works with the resistors on there. So let me power them up to 1023 again. Okay. And I'll leave this this running for a little while. This will be the end of the video if all my testing is complete and I like the boards. I'll fix the error in the design I made. It was just an oversight where I'm doing the dual boards and one of the boards was missing a link or a trace. That was my fault. But other than that, this seems to work just fine. So I'll try and get this uploaded as soon as possible and have the associated blog article with it. And let me know in the comments what you think. And well, hopefully you'll be able to order boards again. So catch you next time.